I guess I'll start this by telling you I was born in Jacksonville, Texas in 1933. It's a little country town, and there was myself and my sister. We was the only two kids in my immediate family. But we had cousins that lived close by who was boys. And so they used to come to our house a lot. And across the, it was, they called them creeks, from the back of our house. And we used to go across the creek to another neighbor's house and get milk. And it was boys there. And their sister was our school teacher. So I didn't have a good life as coming up as a young lady, because everyone said that I was pretty and everyone wanted to misuse me. And it didn't make any difference who it was. So these things happened, and at the age of 7, we moved from there to Dallas, Texas. And the same thing happened even there. But this time, we was having a lot of relationship with white too, you know. And there, we rode the bus. We had to sit behind a sign that says colored on one side and white on the other. And so it went from one extreme to the next one. And so I could be standing at the bus stop and someone could walk up like a white person, and they could be talking with me, and just as soon as another white person walk up, they would stop just like they never spoke to me, you know. And I always said, they may feel by me this way, but I know God created all of us, because they didn't come into this world a different way than I came in. So therefore, it's their problem, whatever, you know, is going on. And so well, I wrote my mother a letter when I was 15 and told her what was going on. And my aunt, the one that I was named after, I told her, could I go and live with her? So she said, yeah. So I went to live with her. And and while I'm there living with her, I used to help her husband, you know, fix fences and what have you around their property. And one day he told me, he said he wanted to get a divorce from my aunt and marry me. I felt like, you know, this little, I left from one house with such craziness, and then come to another house, and then somebody talking about leaving my aunt and marrying me, and I never would have married him, and I was saying, oh, I got to get out of this. So at the age of 17, I had said, the first person to come along and ask me to marry them, I'm going to marry them. And that's what I did. Well, it was the wrong thing to do, but I did it. And so, after that, we was together about a year, and then it just wasn't going good at all. So my mother and father had came to Vegas because I had an uncle that was in service, and he was stationed out here. So that's the reason they came here. And so one day he took me to work, and when I got to work, I had told my grandmother and my sister what I was going to do. And so when I went to work, I told my boss, I said, I'm going to have to get my money and get me a ticket and come to Vegas. So they gave me my money, and I got a ticket, and I came to Vegas. And so that's how I made it here. And all the time, I used to have a dream that I was going to die at an early age, and I never really understood this, But I always thought that I was going to die when I was young, and so I came here and I started going to Second Baptist Church, and then I met another man, and I got married to him at the age of 21. And we stayed together for 8 years. He used to go to the movie with me, and but he wouldn't go to church with me. And so then he stopped going to the movie with me, and he said that he was doing that to get me. I said, well, you have to do it more so to keep me. And so after the 8 years, I met someone else, and I got a divorce from him. And I got married to the third husband. I stayed with him for 8 years. And then after we got a divorce, I was working at the Thunderbird Hotel, and that's where I met Helen Danby, was my spiritual mother. So she didn't say, come to my church. She said, and she was a Canadian, white hair, just like yours. And she'd say, I want you to come over sometime. So I said, okay. I said, you come over to my church, and then I'll come to yours, because, I had that to happen. I invite people to come over, and it would always something come up that they couldn't come. So I said, well, if she come to my church, then I have to go to her church. And so when I got to church that Sunday, her head was the first one that I saw among all those black people there, So I said, well, now I got to go to her church. And I had gone to many people's churches before, all kind of religion. I used to go to the Seventh-day Adventist church with a friend of mine, and go to my church on a Sunday. And but this time I prayed. I prayed to God that whatever I was getting into, that it was of Him, because I didn't want to get into anything that wasn't of God. And so I went there, and then I started hearing the principle, and everything that I was hearing, the answers that I had been asking for inside of me, I was always saying, well, I guess I'll find out about it when I go to spirit world, that God would tell me about it. And so, and to be able to get these answers then, I know it had to be from God, and that this had to be His truth that He had sent to this earth to us. So I was hooked, sinking, line, or whatever you said. So then I started doing all kinds of conditions. I mean, walking, getting up in the morning, walking, praying, taking cold showers, and I just hate cold water on me. But I was taking cold showers, everything that I could, because I wanted to get free from Satan as fast as I could. And I had because my mother was staying with me at the time, and I had her going with me on these walks, and I had her to hear the principle, although she didn't understand it that much, And I would try, whenever I would have a revelation of something, I would tell her about it, and one day she said, I am tired of hearing about the principle. And I said, oh my goodness, I don't want my mother to not want to hear about the principle, And I realized that she wasn't able to receive these things as fast as I could. So I would try to slow down on telling her about it. So anyway, the center came over, everyone from the center came over on her birthday, and she cooked the meal for them. And she liked the members and everything. And so it came a time that they combined all the centers to 7 states. And they sent the center from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, and sent the center from Los Angeles, I think it was either to New York or some other state. So anyway, I sold my house, and I told my mother, I said, you can come with me. And she said she didn't want to leave her grandkids. My sister had 2 kids, so she wanted to stay with them. So I said, okay, now if you stay with her, whatever happened, I said, because I won't be able to come back here to help you or anything. So she'll have to do whatever, has to be done for you. And so she said, okay. And so I sold the house, and I took as much of my furniture that I could with me, and then I sold the rest of it. So, and I went on to LA, and And at that time I had a Cougar, 70 Cougar. And by me selling my house, within I could cook and witness and what have you. And I could help, with the rent and everything. And so I did that, and then they sent a lot of people from Oakland or San Francisco, someplace. They sent them to L.A. to join our center there, and at one at one point, Mrs. Arms was there with us, and so they sent a group of us fundraising to the Oakland and around different places. So I was among that group, and so and I signed my car over to the center there, and I was one that I could sell things pretty good, and so Father had the ones that had made the highest amount of money to come to Belvedere. So we went there, and Father put us on a special task force team. And so then we went around other places that I would never make it to if I hadn't been in the church. And so then we fundraised, and at that time I was doing pretty good, but I wasn't making a lot of money. So then Yankee Stadium and Washington Monument came up, and so I helped with that. And after all of those things took place, within I went back to Manhattan and was working in the Manhattan building. So President, what's his name?
Sullivan.
No.
Durst.
The Jewish man.
Dr. Durst.
Dr. Durst.
No, Dr. Durst, no.
Hoffman.
Hoffman. Jim Hoffman.
No. Anyway, I'll probably think of it in a few minutes. As well as I know his name, and I can't even think of it now. Well, anyway, he said he had some place for me to go, and then he took me to Belvedere to work, and so I was there at Belvedere for 10 years, as you all know. That I was cooking and I was fundraising, and I got so good I was driving a van with a trailer hooked onto it, and in this trailer I had those helium balloons, and I had some dolls that I had made up, and I was selling flowers. So it was just like a little store that I had. I would cook, and then I would get ready and go out fundraising. And I would fundraise till like 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and then I'd go back home. And I would say, God, you're the only one that I would be doing all of this for, because all my life I've always worked on a job, you know. Never fundraised. And then with this fundraising, I've been standing on the corner selling something to someone, and would go off to sleep standing there waiting on them to get the money out, and they stand there waiting on me to wake up. I mean, I've had some very funny experience like that, you know, just going round in circles and going off to sleep, being so tired and all. But I had really good experience by working at Belvedere because I would get to see True Parents in. They would come over and they would walk around the property, and we walk around the property with them, and we sit down and they would talk, you know, Father would talk to us and all. And then we would go over to East Garden and go into the pool, and we got to go to all the kids' birthdays and everything. So it was really a nice experience I had working there. And I don't know what else to tell you.
What age were you when Helen Danby approached you when you joined?
When I joined, I was 37.
Because that's very
I-
unusual.
I was 37. I was the oldest person that was in the church because, I mean, the rest of them was like 20, 21, 22, you know, and I was just like their mother, you know, trying to talk them to stay in the church, you know. And so many came in the church and they left, you know, and all this. I got one young lady to come in the church. She was 18, and she stayed 3 years, and she said, I said that her ancestors must really had a hard time with white because she's father used to say that he would bless some to white and what have you, and she said she couldn't be blessed to no white person, and so she said I got to leave from here. I don't know how you can stay here, but and I was so heartbroken because that was the only person that I had got to come into the church, and for her to leave after 3 years, it was really hard to be able to witness to anyone else. At Second Baptist, I got a minister and 2 deacons to hear all the principal. And after they moved this, you know, center to LA, well then when we came back, we couldn't get, I mean, they would speak to me, but that's all, they wouldn't come nowhere to the church. So it was just like, you know, these people had been in the church for 30 and 40 years and more, and then you give them God and then you take them away, and they haven't even had time to even catch hold to the principle and everything. And I guess during that time, Satan could really work with them, and so they didn't want to have nothing else to do with the church. And so,
How were you able to overcome your resentment toward
towards.
white people.
I never had any resentment towards them. That's it, because I just always said, I know God created us all, so I never resent them. I just felt they are my brothers and sisters, you know, and what they was feeling towards me wasn't my feeling towards them, so I didn't have any resentment. And I've been here working ever since. I worked for 9 years until like
The
2000.
Tropicana.
Hmm?
At the Tropicana. Right?
Uh-huh. And at that time, I was having so much problem with my knees and all. And so, and then I had to get them replaced because all the cartridge was gone out of them. Then I had to get my hips replaced and all that. And so I had made it past the retirement age anyway, so I just went on and retired. Uh-huh. Because
It's
they
a
wouldn't lighten my workload.
They wouldn't lighten it.
Uh-uh.
And tell them what you were doing.
Oh, Lordy. She wanted me to tell you about my cocktail working. I used to work as a cocktail waitress.
She
And
was a looker. And still is. And you were cleaning dressing rooms for a magician, weren't you?
wait, I was cleaning the powder room, and in 1960, the NAACP said that they had to start. 'Cause when I moved here, I mean, we couldn't even go to the hotels. All you could do was just work there. You couldn't go to the casinos or nothing. So in 1960, they said that they had to start giving jobs to the people, you know, other than just working as the maids and what have you and whatever. And so I was working in the ladies' room, and after they said that, I went to the bartender and I asked him, how could I get into cocktail? So he said, if you got a friend, have her to show you how to mix, you know, mix the drinks and everything. And he said, I would be happy to hire you. He said, but I have to hire through the union. Well, I was already in the union, and I know Al Bramley, so I went and told him, and he said, I'm happy that they are giving the people that's working for them already a chance. So he made out the paper for me to go, and then I went to him, and he said, well, B, I don't have no open right now. He said, but he said, but just as soon as, he said, don't say nothing to anyone. He said, but just as soon as I do, I will hire you. So he did. Uh-huh. And so I was the first black cocktail waitress at the Thunderbird Hotel.
Wow.
And the
Breaking
first one
barriers.
in was it the first in Las Vegas?
Which
Yeah.
year was it?
Hmm?
Which year?
What year was it?
1960.
1960.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
She's a pioneer.
Yeah, I pioneered many things. I even was inspector in one of the hotels that I worked in. You know, inspecting other people's work. and it's really bad because, in a way, because when I was young, my grandmother gave me a whipping once. She had me mopping the floor, and I didn't do it right, and she gave me a whipping, and I had to do it again. So I learned from that day, whatever you do it right the first time, and you won't have to do it again. So that's the way I was with working. And then when I was inspector, they had me going around inspecting the ladies' rooms, and I had to send them back to do things in there. And I had some of them to really quit working because they didn't want to do it. And I said, well, I'm not going to do it for them, you know. And I said, because they have to make their living too, and I'm not going to lose my job because I won't have them to go back and do the work right. And so, I mean, it's really, and that's the reason why I'm very I got a very keen eye for things, you know. If anything is out of order, I can see it right away. And I have grown up with it, I guess. And so it's really hard, and like not being able to do things for myself, you know, it makes it real difficult too, because you know, I'm so used to having everything just spick and span. And a central figure once they left the church and they wanted me to leave with them. And I said, no, I can't leave. I can't leave this church. I said, because I mean, I've heard the truth, and that's what I've been searching for all my life, you know, and to leave with somebody? No, I can't do that. And so in 1972, when True Father came here, I said, if everybody leaves from this church, I will be here. I will never leave. And so I'm still here, and so many people that I was in the church with has gone.
Yeah.
Hmm. So many. And it was one girl that came in, and you know how a spirit world just send people, and then they just keep going. She was going to India. I said, you got all the truth that you need and you're going to India? I can't believe it. So it was just people that spirit world was just bringing in and out just like that. And so.
Some seed falls on hard ground, and some falls on fertile soil.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, for sharing.
You're welcome.
Any other question for her?
Did you ever have opportunity to ask Father anything in the times that you all met? Sometimes he would ask for questions for people, right?
Oh, I mean, I just told him that when I came back to America, that I was coming back to work, you know, to send money And so he told me he thought that was good, that I was coming back to work to send money to help.
Africa.
And but I never really asked any question because I remember the time that I had a dream about a blessing that was coming up or something, and and I can't remember what Father said to me in this dream. He said something, but I'm not. It's been so long ago, I've forgotten. But I always said that people that was having dreams about Father, they needed that to stay. I didn't need anything to have a dream or nothing to keep me because I had the truth there. So that's all I needed, you know.
Praise God.
I was anchored, you know. And I remember the time that my aunt was saying, those people gonna take your money away from you and kill you. Oh God, you know. So, just, you know, everything to try to keep me from being in the church. That's it. Nothing. And you know, all the time that when I was reading the Bible, you know, and I was saying, this is what Jesus was talking about, you know. Would you, you know, give up everything to follow him? And I was willing to give up everything to follow him. So, you know, because I didn't have to give up anything when I joined the Christian church. So I know this was the time that the Bible was talking about, you know. So I was there. I was really, like I said, anchored deep. So, and Mother took us all out to buy some clothes, and and they was saying that when they bought clothes for us, it was like they was buying clothes, you know, for the world. You know, we was like the representative of the world to them, and things like that. And when I was at Belvedere, I used to prepare the room that they would be in, and fix the water and everything for them to drink. And the agent have come and laid on my bed, and I had some gum at one time. I don't know if I still have it or not, where she put on my table. And, you know, I had good memories of the true children. And I talked to one of the sisters that was working at Belvedere, and she said, someone had told her that we couldn't even be around the true children and all that. And And she said, I told her we was round the two children all the time, you know, 'cause they was always over in Belvedere and with different ones, you know. And I don't know how someone would think that we didn't have any communication with the two children. I remember one day I had cooked one of those lemon upside down cake, and True Mother they came through, and they got a piece, and she had one of the sisters that work at East Garden to help me to make one for East Garden. And so I made one and sent over to East Garden the next day. Mm-hmm.
It's a special memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Priceless.
How many of your family live here in Las Vegas?
We had 40 members in the center here, and all the kids' parents would come on Sunday before they moved from here.
Before we went to LA?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
40 families. Wow.
Hmm?
Big
40
number.
members. 40 members.
Oh.
We weren't families then. We were all singles.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I see the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But who is here with you?
Perry Cadillo, Sam Pell, Jack and Gladys Cawthorworth was our central figures, and
Bonnie?
hmm?
Was Bonnie one of them?
Bonnie.
Okay, maybe.
I don't remember that name.
She was a singer.
Well, Bunny. I know Jack and Gladys and Perry was singing, but I don't.
Maybe that was before her time.
Mike
Maybe
Smith,
so.
he joined here, right?
Hmm?
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith.
The
Was
tall
he
one.
here in New York?
I think he joined here. Yeah.
His dad lives here. I don't know.
Was David Lowe? He was here. His father had a business here. I don't know if he's still.
He's in San Diego area.
But I'm talking about, do his father still live here? Or is he?
I don't know. Might be in the spirit world.
Yeah, could be. And Sadell was here.
Oh, so Jill in here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Sadell. Sadell. Oh, I used to have to talk to Sadell every day, trying to get her connected, you know. She was always ready to leave or something. I said, no, Sadell, you got to stay here.
She's Jewish.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're all finished, you're all washed.